schools.
Mr. Worthing!
Mr. Worthing?
This is indeed a surprise. We did not expect you till Monday afternoon.
I have returned sooner than I expected. Dr. Chasuble, I hope you are well.
Dear Mr. Worthing, I trust this garb of woe does not betoken some terrible calamity.
My brother.
More shameful deaths and extravagance?
Still leading his life of pleasure.
Dead.
Your brother Ernest. Dead?
Quite dead.
What a lesson for him. I trust he will profit by it.
Mr. Worthing, use my sincere condolence. You have at least the consolation of knowing you're always most generous and forgiving of brothers.
Poor Ernest. He had many faults, but it is a sad, sad blow.
Very sad indeed. Were you with him at the end?
No, he died abroad, in Paris, in fact. I had a telegram last night from the manager of the Grand Hotel.
Was the cause of death mentioned?
A severe chill, it seems.
As a man sows, so shall he reap.
Charity, dear Miss Pism, charity. None of us are perfect. I myself am quite peculiarly susceptible to drafts. Will the interment take place here?
No, he seems to have expressed a desire to be married abroad. In Paris, in fact.
In Paris? I fear that hardly points to a serious state of the mind of the lad. You would no doubt wish me to make some slight allusion to this tragic domestic affliction next Sunday. My sermon on the meaning of the manna in the wilderness can be adapted to almost any occasion, joyful, or as in the present case, distressing. I preached at harvest celebrations, christenings, confirmations, on days of humiliation, and festal days. The last time it was delivered within the cathedral as a charity sermon on the behalf of the Society for the Prevention of Discontent among the upper orders. The bishop, who was present, was much struck by some of the analogies I drew.
That reminds me. You mentioned christenings, I believe, Dr. Chasuble. I suppose you know how to christen all right? I mean, of course, you are continually christening, aren't you?
It is, I regret to say, one of the rector's most constant duties in this parish. I have often spoken to the poorer classes on the subject, but they don't seem to know what thrift is.
But is there any infant whom you are interested, Mr. Worthing? Your brother was, I believe, unmarried, was he not?
Yes.
People who live entirely for pleasure usually are.
It's not for any child, Doctor. I am very fond of children. No, the fact is, I would like to be christened myself. This afternoon would be nothing better to do.
But surely, Mr. Worthing, you've been christened already.
I don't remember anything about it.
But have you any grave doubts on the subject?
I certainly intend to have. But of course, I don't know if the thing would bother you in any way, or if you think I'm a little too old now.
Not at all. Sprinkling, and indeed the immersion of adults, is a perfectly canonical practice.
Immersion?
You need have no apprehensions. Sprinkling is all that is necessary, or indeed, I think, advisable. Our weather is so changeable. What hour would you like the ceremony before?
I might trot round about 5:30 if that would suit you.
Perfectly. Indeed, I have two similar ceremonies before that time. A case of twins that occurred recently in one of the outlying cottages on your own estate. Poor Jenkins the carter, a most heartbreaking man.
Oh, I don't see much fun being christened along with other babies. That would be childish. Would 5:30 do?
Admirably, admirably. And now, dear Mr. Worthing, I must not intrude any longer into a house of sorrow. I would merely beg you not to be too much bowed down by grief. What seem to us bitter trials, often blessings in disguise.
This seems to me a blessing of an extremely obvious kind.
Uncle Jack! Oh, I am pleased to see you back. But what horrid clothes you have got on. Do go and change them.
Cecily!
My child, my child.
What is the matter, Uncle Jack? Do look happy. You look as if you had toothache, and I have got such a surprise for you. Who do you think is in the dining room? Your brother Ernest. You arrived about half an hour ago.
What nonsense. I haven't got it, brother.
Oh, don't say that. However badly he may have behaved to you in the past, he is still your brother. You couldn't be so heartless as to disown him. I'll tell him to come out, and you will shake hands with him, won't you, Uncle Jack?
These are very joyful tidings.
After we had been recently resigned to his loss, his sudden return seems to me peculiarly distressing.
My brother is in the dining room. I don't know what it all means. I think it perfectly absurd. Good heavens!
Brother John, I have come down to town to tell you that I'm very sorry for all the trouble I've given you, and I intend to lead a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, you are not going to refuse your own brother's hand!
Nothing will induce me to take his hand. I think his coming down here is disgraceful. He knows perfectly well why.
Uncle Jack, do be nice. There is some good in everyone. Ernest here has just been telling me about his poor invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, whom he goes to visit so often. And, surely, there must be good in one who is kind to an invalid and leaves the pleasures of London to sit by bed of pain.
He's been talking about Bunbury, has he?
Yes, he has told me all about poor Mr. Bunbury and his terrible state of health.
Bunbury. Look, I won't have him talk to you about Bunbury or about anything else. It is enough to drive one perfectly frantic.
Of course, I admit that the faults were all on my side. But I must say that I think that Brother John's coldness to me is peculiarly painful. I expected a more enthusiastic welcome, especially considering it is the first time I've ever come here.
Uncle Jack, if you don't shake hands with Ernest, I will never forgive you.
Never forgive me?
Never, never, never! Huh.
Fine. This is the last time I shall ever do it.
It is pleasant, is it not, to see so perfect a reconciliation? I desire to leave the two brothers together.
Cecily, you can come with us. Certainly, Miss Chisholm, my little task of reconciliation is over.
You've done a beautiful action today, dear child.
We must not be premature in our judgments.
I feel very happy.
I beg your pardon, sir. There's a gentleman waiting to see you.
Mr. Ernest Worthing
Yes!
of Before the Albany.
Yes, that is my address.
I'm very sorry, sir, but I have a writ of attachment against you at the suit of the Savoy Hotel Company, limited for £762, 14 shillings.
What perfect nonsense. I never dined at the Savoy at my own expense.
In the interest of our clients, we had no choice but to take out an order for committal of your person.
Committal of my person.
For 6 months.
Oh, for 6 months.
No doubt you'll prefer to pay the bill.
Pay it? Oh, what am I going to do? That gentleman never has any money.
In my experience, it is usually relations. Okay?
Right. Brother Jack?
£762 and 14 shillings. All since last October. I'm bound to say I never saw such reckless extravagance in my life.
My dear fellow, how ridiculous you are. You have your debts and I have mine. And you know quite well that this bill is really yours.
Mine?
Yes, and you know it.
Mr. Worthing, if this is another jest, it is most out of place.
It is not.
It is gross effrontery, just what I expected from him.
And it is ingratitude. I didn't expect that.
Next thing you know, he'll be denying he's Ernest Worthing in the first place.
Very sorry to disturb this pleasant family meeting, but time presses. We must be at Holloway Prison by 4 o'clock, otherwise it is difficult to obtain admission. The rules are very strict.
Holloway Prison?
It is at Holloway that detentions of this character are made.
I will not be imprisoned in the summer for having dined in the West End. Jack!
I agree to settle my brother's accounts on the condition that he makes his way without delay to the bedside. Poor bedridden Bunbury, whose health I've recently informed is rapidly declining. Well, Ernest,
Yes.
Very well. I will have Marion escort you inside. I will follow shortly to settle this business.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I think we best all be on our ways.
Marion! You young scoundrel, Algy, you've got to get out of here at once. I don't allow any Bunbury in here.
I have put Mr. Ernest's luggage in the room next to yours, sir,